What if the true battle for the next Lakers dynasty isn't fought solely on hardwood courts, but in the shadowy negotiations behind closed doors where timing and money collide? What if we stand on the edge of either legendary triumph or heartbreaking, unraveling, all hinging on decisions that feel just out of reach yet inevitable? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truth meets purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a second of this drama. Now listen closely, because the basketball world is swirling, with a tension so thick you could cut it with a knife, and it centers on a name as electrifying and complicated as the man himself, Austin Reaves. Here's the deal. The Lakers made him a solid offer, 4 years, $89 million total. That's roughly $22 million a year. A bargain in this new era of basketball money, especially under a fresh TV contract boost. Any loyal fan would say, lock him up. But Reaves? He shot it down, holding out for something jaw-dropping $45 million a year. Yes, you heard right. $45 million per year. Now, this is where the nightmare scenario starts to creep in. Because nothing in professional sports, NBA or NFL, ends a championship run faster than overpaying a B-level player as if they're an all-star. Look no further than the Cowboys and Dak Prescott saga, paying outlandish contracts, only to watch the window slam shut. The Lakers are staring down this exact peril with Reaves. Do you gamble on holding him with a hefty $24 million per annum deal now? Or do you wait and risk him commanding $43 to $48 million a year later? Or worse, walking into another franchise's arms with a fat paycheck? The clock is ticking, and the Lakers can't afford to be the Cowboys of the NBA. You feel the seismic stakes when you consider LeBron, Davis, and potentially Austin all squeezing the salary cap like a vice on the rest of the roster. It's untenable. And yes, no one's more hopeful on Reaves than those of us who want him to be our second star. But realistically, unless LeBron retires after this season, Austin might just shop for greener pastures with a bigger bag elsewhere. The very thought sends ripples through Lakers Nation. Do we trade him? Test the market? But there's a catch. He has just 1 year left on his contract. That means teams must gamble on acquiring him, knowing he might bolt after a single season, leaving assets expended for fleeting reward. His value, therefore, paradoxically falls short of his on-court production. Exploring trade options makes sense, but the returns may disappoint, and the Lakers might find themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place, clinging to a key player with a big price tag, or risking the fallout by conceding loss or inferior assets. Meanwhile, across the league, other powerhouses like the Boston Celtics are making seismic shifts behind their own curtains, moving all high-dollar burdens like Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis to save over $20 million was a masterstroke of thrift and strategy. Brad Stevens isn't playing around those swift moves after the season's end signal a brewing reboot, but perhaps not a full teardown. Rumors swirl about Derek White and whispers about Jaylen Brown's fate, possibly heading to Miami. But insiders suggest those stars aren't going anywhere soon. The reason? They're key puzzle pieces waiting for Jason Tatum's inevitable return. A return that could vault the Celtics right back near the top of that brutal Eastern Conference. So rather than burn everything down, Boston's playing smart economy, avoiding the obscene luxury tax while recalibrating for future glory. Enter Anthony Simons, a potential wild card. Sure, he's no defensive juggernaut, but he brings crisp shooting and savvy scoring. It may be a slight downgrade in star wattage, but his fit and energy might just help Boston claw back into the playoff picture, maybe even fight for that elusive Eastern Conference Finals berth. All this while the Knicks' situation twists and turns in its own right, with rumors flying that Jason Kidd might be considering coaching changes, perhaps even sniffing at the Knicks' job. But the word on the street, and from insiders, is that's all smoke. Kidd's valued in Dallas. The Mavericks, when healthy, have a ceiling higher than New York's, even amid injury concerns. Yet the big question mark looms over Dallas's health stars. We idolize Anthony Davis for his dominance, but that fragile Achilles heel whispers disaster every time the calendar flips closer to the playoffs. At Kyrie Irving, coming off a torn ACL, rapidly approaching 34 years old, a man whose injury history haunts his prime, and suddenly the stars align in a precarious cosmic joke. If Bo could guarantee full health, if Cooper Flagg, the promising rookie, lives up to the hype, averaging a solid 18 points and a smattering of rebounds and assists, Dallas could really contend for it all. But that if hangs in the balance, like a guillotine. On the other side, the Knicks dwell in a weaker conference, a lottery of injured players everywhere you look. Yet their path to the finals might paradoxically seem clearer than Dallas's. The overarching narrative? Uncertainty wrapping itself like a python around the league's most storied franchises. And then there's Ace Bailey, the poster child of bad advice in this cutthroat game. A young kid, eager, but surrounded by adults who seem absent at the most crucial moments. His agent isn't even certified by the NBA, a stunning revelation in a world where every detail counts. Bailey's gyrating through advice that seems more damaging than helpful, choosing teams not by opportunity, but hearsay, perhaps resisting what Utah, a genuinely promising scenario with a skilled coach in Will Hardy and a rising franchise led by Danny Ainge, has to offer. Freedom and opportunity to run the floor with the basketball in his hands aren't minor perks. They're lifelines in a league that chews players up and spits them out without a blink. Yet here he is, adrift in poor guidance, while teams hold all the cards, ready to tender him a contract that will pin him down. What a brutal chess game. No one wants to see potential wasted, and as fans, it's gut-wrenching to watch a young star stumble through this maze of mismanagement. So here we are, standing at the crossroads not only of a franchise, but of careers Austin Reaves' looming decision that could redefine the Lakers' championship window. The Celtics' calculated shedding and shelving of stars. The Mavericks' fragile health puzzle. The Knicks' shimmering possibility lurking in injury chaos. And the young hope Ace Bailey caught in the crossfire of bad counsel. Every move echoes through arenas. Every dollar committed shrinks or expands dreams. As a lifelong Lakers fan, I can't help but feel the weight of history pressing down, reminding me of every near miss, every lost chance, and every improbable run we've lived through before. The years of glory and heartbreak wrinkle into one. Undeniable truth. The next 2 months might not just decide a season, but the lifespan of an empire. So tell me, are we witnessing the birth of a new dynasty, carefully crafted amid these financial and strategic maelstroms? Or is this moment the quiet crack that will fracture the purple and gold beyond repair? Drop your take in the comments. I'll be reading every one. Listen up, Lakers Nation, this isn't just another off-season. This is a trial by fire, burning through the very essence of what it means to bleed. Purple and gold. I'm not just talking contracts or trades. I'm talking about the heart of a franchise gasping for air, wrestling with a legacy that's both glory and ghost. LeBron James, yeah, the king is still out there, defying the laws of physics and father time. But beneath all the highlights and jaw-dropping buzzer beaters, you can feel the weight crushing down on his shoulders. He's not just carrying the hopes of a season. He's lugging the entire history of decades of Laker greatness, a soul-crushing burden that connects the Showtime legends of the 80s, the three-peat juggernauts bronzed in the early 2000s, the triumphant revenge tour of the late 2010s, and the bubble victory that temporarily silenced every doubter across the globe. But what's haunting us now, the silent question that creeps into your bones when the crowd quiets, is how much longer can the king keep carrying this kingdom on his back before his throne crumbles? Anthony Davis, the brow who once seemed destined to complete this royal dynasty, is a fragile colossus whose knees and Achilles echo with every step like ticking time bombs. We all pray for health, that elusive holy grail, but every eerie tweak sends shivers down the spine. The Lakers' blueprint depends on the tandem's survival. But what if one or both succumb to the relentless grind of this brutal sport? What if the dynasty promise turns out to be a mirage in the desert of unmet expectations? And then there's Austin Reaves, the inflection point, the wild card who could either be the knight in shining armor or the Achilles heel that poisons the well. His rejection of a fair 4-year pact exposes a disturbing truth beneath the glitz and glamour, a chasm opening between loyalty and legacy, between the player's desire for what he believes he's worth and the franchise's insistence on guarding its financial soul. What if Reeves' astronomical demand isn't arrogance, but a signal that loyalty, just like the dollars, is a fragile, negotiable commodity these days? What if the glimmer of a second star who could carry this team forward is really a test? Is the Lakers front office ready to ride the razor's edge of risk or crumble under the pressure? Jeannie Buss, the matriarch of our Lakers' destiny, still holds the attuned, delicate balance of power, but whispers circulate of new billionaires, circling the scene like vultures eyeing a carcass, ready to disrupt decades of carefully cultivated tradition. What if someone steps into this rock and roll chaos with deep pockets and deeper ambitions, reshuffling power, loyalties, and dreams in a snap? Could this recreate the magic of the Showtime era, when the Lakers weren't just a team but a cultural juggernaut that made basketball art? Or will it fracture what's left of a once mighty kingdom, leaving us to mourn yet another twilight of the Lakers' golden days? Look around the Western Conference, the ripples from these Lakers gambles spread like wildfire. The Warriors, once the immovable mountain, have shown cracks, and though they're clawing to maintain a grip on the throne, their dynasty feels as fragile as ever. Meanwhile, Denver's meteoric rise under Jokic turns heads, but even they're stoic. Center can't predict if this fragile peak will hold against the chaos from LA, Phoenix, and the Clippers. The so-called pretenders of the West watch and wait ready to snatch advantage as the Lakers wrestle with internal storms. Could this moment define the decade with a massive power shift? What if, just what if, the Lakers stumble now not because of on-court battles, but because of missed minutes on phone calls that should have cemented a deal or signed a young star who believed in the vision? It's a plot ripped right from a Hollywood thriller. The drama, the stakes, the players shifting loyalties faster than the applause can drown out doubts. Picture the Crypto.com arena, the crowd roaring with hope and anxiety, while upstairs deals hang in limbo minutes away from a revelation or a heartbreak. And fan emotion? Listen, I've been there, yelling at the screen when Derek Fisher's shot missed in 2009, gritting my teeth through Paul Gasol's double-double nights, riding the highs of Kobe's last stand, celebrating the triumph of 2020. Like it was communion with the gods only to watch hope crumble piece by piece as the post-title nights turn into endless nights of what if. This isn't just basketball, it's our shared pain, joy, pride, and despair swirling in a perfect storm. But what if this crisis breeds a catalyst? A new way forward where blood isn't just purple and gold, but also resilience and reinvention. What if Austin Reaves becomes more than a piece on the chessboard and morphs into the heartbeat of a new Lakers legend leading a young core fueled by Bronny James bursting onto the scene with the fire and swagger that only the bloodline of greatness can birth? Yes, Bronny the heir apparent, walking the delicate tightrope of expectation and reality. His emergence could either be the dawn of a new era or yet another weight on weary shoulders. What if the Lakers, with Bronny's arrival, add not just talent, but a narrative that captures hearts worldwide, a story of legacy passed down, a dynasty rekindled in front of our eyes? And yet, nothing is guaranteed. Injuries lurk like shadows. In alleyways, contract conflicts could explode like dynamite. Front office decisions weigh like anchors or wings. The potential billionaire disruption looms like a storm on the horizon, ready to change the landscape in ways we can only speculate. So here I am, pacing the edges of sanity and hope, shouting into this digital abyss for every Lakers soul who's followed this rain-soaked roller coaster for decades. Because the Lakers are more than a team. They're a fragile heartbeat of a city, a family stretched across the world, a saga that binds us through triumph and tragedy. As a Laker till the day I die, here's what I see coming. A crossroads, soaked in sweat, tears, and raw nerve endings where the foundation of glory could either be reforged in fire or crack apart under the weight of unmet dreams. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop your rawest take below, every true believer in purple and gold, because this story we're living isn't just about basketball. It's about our souls, our fight, our undying hope. What will you choose to believe when the next card falls?